Okay guys, this is video 3. Now we're talking about farther and further. And let's read the directions first. So complete the sentences with farther and or further. Use both if possible. Okay, well, how does that work? Well, farther has to do mainly with distance. And further means more. Okay, so when we're talking about more distance, then farther is correct. But further is also correct because further means more. So if the meaning of the sentence is more distance, then both farther and further are correct. Okay. However, if the meaning is not concerning distance, then only further would be correct. Okay? So distance, use both. Not distance, use only further. Okay. So, let's look at the meaning of the sentence. If you need to discuss these matters farther or further, give me a call. Well, this one means more, so we can only use further with a U. Okay, this one, the bus station is blank from our house, then, that's supposed to be an A, then the train station. Is this one distance? Yes, this one is distance. So we can use farther or further. Okay, now that we know how to do this, let's just say both if it's distance, and let's use U if it's not distance. Okay, so let's check for distance. You can go now. We have no blank need of your services. Well, that's not distance. So that's going to be further with a U. If you don't get our plumbing fixed now, it may cause blank problems later. Well, this one does not mean distance, it means more, so further with a U. I was surprised. We hiked all the way to the lake. We went blank than we had planned. This is distance. So we would use both of them, either of them rather, I should say. Both are possible. So that was distance. If you need more information, please contact my lawyer. I have nothing blank to say. Okay, this means more, not distance. So we'd use further with a U. My grandparents like their new retirement community, but it's blank from town than they had realized. Yes, this is distance. So we can use either or both of them. Okay? Since my surgery, I've begun taking walks. Every day I try to walk a little blank. That is distance. So either one is correct. You'll need to take a train from the airport to your hotel. The airport is blank from the city than the travel brochures tell you. Okay, so this is going to be both because of distance. And then we're almost home. We just have a little blank to go. Okay, this is also distance, so either one of them is correct. I hope you guys got that. Okay. Completing a comparative sentence. Well, remember what I told you. You have to use, okay, so we've got whatever the sentence is before, and then we're going to have the comparative, and after the comparative we'll have then. Well, after then, remember what I told you. It's subject and verb phrase. It's like a new sentence. Okay? But we're not going to have the entire verb phrase. We're just going to use an aux or modal, so I'll write aux here. However, you do not have to keep the aux, so you can drop that, but the subject you have to keep. Okay, so let's look at number 1. The Smiths have 7 children. I have only 2 children. Their family is bigger than. Okay, so what are we comparing? We get the background details from the first 2 sentences. But here we have to be careful, because these, the Smiths and I, these are only subjects. Here we have a possessive pronoun. Okay, and we have family, and those stay together. So we're comparing their family, not just family and not just their. Okay, so we have a possessive, and we need to have a possessive over here. So their family is bigger than my, okay, hold on, my family is. Okay, and I told you that we can drop the aux. So I will drop the aux. Their family is bigger than my family. Okay, and then we can also drop family. And what do we do if we drop the noun? We don't have the noun. Well, it can't be my anymore. It has to change. So that would now be their family is bigger than mine. And then you can have is. But as I told you, you can also drop the aux. So their family is bigger than mine. Okay, so we have a few answers here. Their family is bigger than my family is. Their family is bigger than my family. Their family is bigger than mine is. Their family is bigger than mine. Now I know some people would want to use, instead of my, use our. Well, that's fine too. Their family is bigger than our family is. Okay? And then we can drop the aux, get rid of is. Their family is bigger than our family. And then we can drop family. Okay? And that would be their family is bigger than ours is. And then we can drop that aux and have their family is bigger than ours. So if you did it that way, there are several answers. Their family is bigger than our family is. Their family is bigger than our family. Their family is bigger than ours is. Their family is bigger than ours. Okay, now let's look at the second one. Jose can count to 100 in Spanish. The others can count only to 20. Okay, so we're talking about Jose and the others. And we have Jose here, so we're people to people. And the others, more than one person. So Jose can count better than they can. And we can drop can. Okay, we have to keep the same aux or modal. In this one we kept is. In this one we keep can. I don't enjoy cooking. My husband loves to cook. His cooking is better than blank. Okay, so we have not just my husband, we have his, which is the same as that. We have a possessive pronoun. So we're going to keep cooking here. His cooking is better than my cooking. Oops. Better than my cooking is. Okay, and we can drop that modal. And then we can also drop cooking. So that would be his cooking is better than mine is. And we can drop that ox. We're using the same ox. Nina can run a mile in 10 minutes. Nina is a woman. Farah can run a mile in 8. Farah is a woman. Farah can run faster than, okay, we could use the name, but here I want to practice the pronouns, so I'd rather use a pronoun. So let's get rid of Nina, and let's use the pronoun. Farah can run faster than she, and we use the same one, can. And of course we can drop can. We bought a 2-bedroom house. The Bakers bought a 4-bedroom house. The Bakers bought a larger house than, okay, well, what are we comparing? We've got the Bakers, that's the family name. Okay, so we're talking about people. We have, we don't have a house here. Actually, this apostrophe should not be there. That's a mistake. So the Bakers bought a larger house than we did. Okay, so let's look for the ox. Here's the verb. We have no ox. And when we have no ox, we use do, right? And this is past tense, so the do here is past tense. And you can drop the ox. Dr. Smith is a cheap dentist. Other dentists in the city are more expensive than blank. Okay, here we don't know if Dr. Smith is a man or a woman, so because we don't know and we can't find out, you guys just choose what you want. So let's do woman first. Other dentists in the city are more expensive than she is. And of course we can drop is, and here the ox is be. And then he is. Okay. You can lift heavy weights. I can only lift light weights. That should be 2 words. I can't lift as much as, okay, subject to subject, and this is our modal, as much as you can, and can be dropped. Okay, so we have people. Gary is 33 years old, Sue is 30, Dan is 27, and I am 22. Okay, so they're all older than I am, right? Gary, Sue, and Dan are older than I am. I am younger than they are. Okay, and that's the ox that we're using. Let's keep going. Okay, we have very versus a lot, much, and far. Well, very is used before an adjective. So, very tired, very hungry. A lot, much, and far are used in front of comparatives. So if I use hungry, I need to use the comparative. Hungrier. A lot hungrier. Much hungrier. Far hungrier. Okay? So for this, we are using the comparative form of the adjective, not just an adjective. So let's be careful. So what do we need to do here? We need to decide if the word after the blank, right here, is an adjective or comparative. Okay? So good. Good is an adjective. So that's going to be very. More active is a comparative. So that's going to be, let's just pick a lot. Okay, and then here we have an adjective. So that's very. Here we have a comparative. Let's use much. Here we have a comparative. Let's use far. But for comparatives, all three, a lot, much, and far, you just pick one. That's all you have to do. Okay, tired, adjective, very. Excited, adjective, very. More expensive, comparative, a lot. Prettier, comparative, much. Older, comparative, far. Okay, I hope that was simple enough. This video is longer than the other videos because I improved the program between video 2 and video 3. Okay, here we're using less than and not as blank as, okay? And what goes here in the middle is less adjective than, not as adjective as. Okay, so both of them mean the same thing. We have A is less adjective than B. A is not as adjective as B. Okay, and this means that A is smaller than B. Okay, now the rule for this is that not as blank as is used for everything. It's always right. Okay? However, less adjective than is different. This can only be used for one syllable words. Okay? What's a one syllable word? Well, fast is a one syllable word. Quick is a one syllable word. Rapid is a two syllable word. 1, 2, 1, and 1. Okay, so let's just count syllables. Sweet, how many syllables is that? That's 1. Relaxing, how many syllables is that? That's 3. Okay, so if it's one syllable, then we cannot use less adjective than. Okay, so I'm going to use, let's see, let me use black. This one is wrong. This one is correct because sweet has one syllable. Okay. A shower is less relaxing than a bath. A shower is not as relaxing as a bath. This is more than one syllable, so both are correct. Okay, let's count syllables now. Comfortable, 3. Fattening, 3. Fast, 1. Difficult, 3. Soft, 1. Fresh, 1. Polluted, 3. Hard, 1. Okay, so if it's more than one syllable, both are correct. Both. Both. No, not as fast as. Both. No, not as soft as. One syllable, not as fresh as. 3 syllables, both. 1 syllable, not as hard as. Okay, I hope you understood that. Okay, quiz 10, unclear comparisons. Okay, now we've got the thing with unclear comparisons is that when you have one, it means that there are 2 meanings to the sentence. Okay, so Benito understands math better than his wife. Okay, so we have the subject, and then we have a noun, and we have another noun after the verb. Okay, well the problem with that is that a verb can have more than one object. Okay, so we know that math is an object. What we need to do is find out if this is a subject or an object. Okay, and in this case, we could say that Benito, I'm going to write here, Benito understands Okay, object 1, math. Object 2, his wife. Okay, so are we comparing math and his wife? Well, that's a possible meaning of the sentence. And another meaning would be Benito and his wife. And the verb phrase, understand math. Are we comparing how Benito understands math and how his wife understands math? Yes, that's what we're comparing. This one is a little silly. Okay? So the way the sentence is written, it's unclear. That's why they're called unclear comparisons. The sentence can have both this meaning and this meaning, but we want it to only have the second meaning. Okay, so this is how we fix this problem. Let me erase this. Sorry about that. Okay, and so what do we want here? We want this not to be an object. We want it to only be a subject. And the way that we fix that, to make sure that it's only a subject, we put an aux or modal here. Okay, so let's look. Do we have an aux or modal? Well, our verb is understand. And there is no aux or modal. Well, when we have no aux or modal, what do we use? We use do. Okay, and we need do in the present tense for a she. So that would be does. Benito understands math better than his wife does. Okay, so let's look at number 2. We have subject the children, verb like, cold weather is an object, better than their parents. Okay, problem here, we need to know if the parents is a subject or an object. Well, are we talking about the children liking cold weather and the children liking their parents, comparing their like of cold weather to their like of their parents? No, that's ridiculous. So how do we fix that? We fix that by adding an aux. Okay? And do we have an aux? No, we don't. So we use do, and it's present tense, right? Okay, and we need do for they. So more, better than their parents do. Let's look here. We have Ms. Wilson as a subject, and the verb is cooks more often than Ms. Davis. Okay, well, that's a subject here, but does cook have an object? There's no object here. If there's no object, then we don't have any problem. This one is clear. Okay, for number 1, we had an object, understand math. And number 2, we had an object, like cold weather. But number 3, cook. Cook what? We have no object. So this is clear. We don't need to do anything. Number 4, Toby is a subject, visits his parents more than his brothers and sisters. Okay, so we have an object here, and then here. This could be an object, but we want it to be a subject. So we need to add an aux. And we have nothing here, so we use do, and it's going to be present tense, they do. I watch TV more than my teenagers. Okay, so we have watch what? TV. We have an object. We need this to be a subject, and so we have no aux, and it's present tense. My teenagers, that would be they. More than my teenagers do. Okay, here we have Geo. Geo studies. And harder for his exams than Nat. Okay, so we need Nat to be a subject. And here, do we have an object? We have studies harder. And yes, this is a noun, but this noun is inside the prepositional phrase, which means this cannot be an object of study. So this one has no object, and we don't have to add an aux or modal. So, yes, this can be confusing, and that's why it's called unclear. But the thing we're looking for, 1, look for the verb, and then 2, look for the objects. If the main part of the sentence, the first part of the sentence has an object, then after then, we need to make sure that the noun that comes after it is understood as a subject, and the way we do that is keeping the aux. We cannot drop the aux or it becomes confusing and funny. Okay, and I will stop the video here and continue with a new one. Thank you.